Hello, good afternoon. You're watching Q News, bringing you the latest regional and international developments. The top stories making headlines this hour. The Grand Egyptian Museum hit full operating capacity for a second day, with online-only booking now applied on Fridays, Saturdays and public holidays to manage the heavy demand. Museum management says yesterday's on-site ticket sales were halted after visits exceeded the daily operating limit. Under the new policy, entry on Fridays, Saturdays and public holidays is reservation via the official website only. Ticket windows will be closed on those days. Pre-confirmed bookings remain valid and are being honoured at scheduled times. On other weekdays, tickets are available both online at windows and subject to capacity. The measure aims to streamline entry, enhance safety and improve the visitor experience. Egypt's election authority says 105 overseas polling stations have opened so far, with more to follow today, as New Zealand became the first to close on day 2 of Phase 1. NEA Operations Chief Ahmed Bandari said 105 sites are currently open and remaining stations will come online through the day. He announced the first committee to finish voting was in New Zealand. Bandari held a video conference with ambassadors and diplomatic staff heading subcommittees abroad to brief the public on progress during the second day of overseas balloting in Phase 1 of the House elections, noting procedures are proceeding to schedule. Hamas negotiator Khalil al-Hayya said the October 7th attacks were a response to aggression and the marginalization of the Palestinian cause. Speaking by video to the Arab National Conference in Beirut, al-Hayya framed the October 7 attacks as retaliation and a bid to reassert the Palestinian cause. The truce in place since October 10th has repeatedly come under strain as Israel accuses Hamas of stalling on returning the bodies of detainees and failing to disarm. While carrying out strikes, it says responds to attacks on its forces. The sides trade blame for violations as mediators push to hold the ceasefire. In the northern West Bank, Israeli forces dispersed marches in Kfar Kadum and Beit Lid, protesting settler land seizures amid a surge in settler attacks reported by the UN. Residents say troops moved in to break up demonstrations against settlers taking parts of Palestinian land. The UN reports attacks by the more than 500,000 Israeli settlers have sharply risen since the Gaza war began, declaring October 2025 the worst month for such violence since records started in 2006. Israeli forces said they were acting to maintain order as rights groups urge protections for Palestinians and accountability for offenders. The United Nations says Israeli occupation forces carried out 264 attacks in the West Bank in October, the highest monthly figure in almost 20 years. UN Deputy Spokesperson Farhan Haq, citing OCHA data, reports 264 October incidents causing Palestinian deaths, injuries or property damage, the worst monthly toll since records began nearly 2 decades ago. Since 2006, attacks total 6,900, with about 15,000, that's around 1,500 this year alone. The violence has displaced 3,200 Palestinians, destroyed livelihoods and typically targets trees, vehicles, homes and infrastructure. OCHA has also logged 42 children killed in the West Bank this year. That's around 1 in 5 Palestinian fatalities. Fresh Israeli strikes hit southern Lebanon today, with casualties reported as the EU urged Israel to respect the ceasefire amid rising border tensions. Local and agency reports say Israeli air and drone strikes attacked and struck areas around the south, with at least 2 fatalities and several injuries reported this morning. The EU called on Israel to halt actions that violate Resolution 1701 and last year's ceasefire, warning of further escalation if strikes continue. UN officials noted continued concern over border incidents as both sides trade accusations. And those were the top stories for this hour. Stay with us for continuing coverage, analysis and breaking updates from around the region and around the world here on Q News.